Welcome to the Tommy Sandu podcast. For those that are watching this, I'm not in a sauna, although the background does look like it. I'm in the business center in my hotel in Dubai. We are here, of course, covering the cricket with the Bharat Army and supported by GoDaddy. GoDaddy, who want you to start your digital dream. If you've got an idea for a business, that passion, that little thing of yours, GoDaddy are desperate to get the word out there. And we're using this podcast and the Bharat Army to let everybody know that you should start your dream. We came out here to follow the Indian cricket team on their dream. It's not the sufna that we hoped it would be. In fact, the first two games, as you know, haven't gone very well. We're just about to go into the Afghanistan game and then the Scotland game and then the Namibia game. And who knows what the future holds. But we're here to discuss it with Nikhil Arora, the MD of GoDaddy, and Rakesh, our lead guy from the Bharat Army. This is the Tommy Sandu podcast, having a chat with my boys, Rakesh and Nikhil. Welcome to the Tommy Sandu podcast with GoDaddy, and I'm with the daddy of the GoDaddy world. Sorry, I know it's so obvious. It's almost cliche. Nikhil, how are you, first of all? It's nice to have actually, before Rakesh from the Bharat Army joins us, nice to have a little bit of one-on-one time with you, because we always, we're either with Salim Merchant or another celebrity. That's just how we roll. But how are you, first of all? Are you well? How's your world? Because you're flitting between cricket coverage and events and meeting people and then your own office work. What's your inbox like at the moment on your emails? You all right? You on top of it?
Yeah, I must say, I'm not top of my inbox, but I'm certainly, at least glad to be watching some good cricket. I think, the World Cups, I think some very good cricket happening in many teams. Unfortunately, not for our team, but otherwise, yeah.
What teams are you watching? No, what? You're right. England. I've got to say, England were phenomenal. Yeah. They look super. Obviously, I've got a connection to England as well, and I've got kind of a connection to Pakistan as well. So many of our friends and family are Pakistani, so you can see the joy it's bringing them. I'm gutted it's not me and us and the Bharat Army all out here, because if India was soaring like Pakistan is soaring, it would just be a very different vibe. But it's nice to see Pakistan do so well. Genuinely, as a neutral, as a lover of the sport, don't you think? I mean, they've really stepped up.
Yeah, I mean, I think you can see that, which is good for the game of cricket. I think it's showing up on the field. I think, and which really is very important for any team to win, right?
Okay, and on that note, seeing as the whole reason why we want to do this podcast together is to speak to you about business, but more than that, I think it's more. You describe it as fulfilling your digital journey, starting your digital journey. I like to call it starting your dream. And I think I came up with this line just all throughout lockdown. I just kept sort of saying to myself, just give your dreams a go. Just give it a go. And now we can, and I swear, I'm not just saying this because we've got GoDaddy partnering with us. I promise, I've always thought this throughout lockdown, which is you just take a step. Everyone should take a step towards their dream, because otherwise, man, you end up at a certain age and phase in your life and career kind of going, I don't think I'm happy. This is not what I wanted to do. And you're all about that. And we can relate this to cricket and stuff in a minute, but really, I mean, that's the philosophy of what GoDaddy are about, right?
Yeah, and I think, I think a lot of us have a dream, right? We think of doing something. And, if you just keep thinking about it each year that I want to do this, right? And I think a simple step of naming your dream, which essentially is what do you want to call your dream, can do wonders, because now you can see it real, right? So if you're calling whatever your www.tommypodcast.com, now it's real. And then it, kind of stimulates more actions from you. And, it's as simple as that, where GoDaddy comes into the play and helps you name your dream. And you've named your dream, now the journey starts. And I think, that's really the power of coming online, because naming, discovering, and then you just start growing.
I was in the pool as I am quite often in between work bits and bots here, and I got talking to a couple who were there with their kids, and they're from the UK, actually, not too far from me, an area called Harrow, and they were saying that they were they were doing some work, and their work dried up, and during lockdown they just shifted online. They just shifted buying and selling some jewelry. right? They were just trying to source it, and then they sourced it, and all of a sudden, because of lockdown, the online stuff just went whoosh. And they were like, before you know it, there was no real business plan. It was just making that step. People are often nervous about taking that step, and I can see why. I mean, I have apprehensions about trying new things. Even with the daily podcast, this podcast, people have been saying to me for years, do it. And I'm like, oh, I don't know. So, am I ready for it? Should I take that plunge? Give me some sort of business mindset approach stuff, I guess, to taking that step, because that's the key element is having that faith, I suppose, or no faith, just kind of going, well, screw it, I'm going to do it anyway. Oh, I've lost you on the sound, Nikhil. I've lost you on. Can I hear you? Oh, there you go. You're back.
So I think what online presence gives you is the ability to walk before you run, right? And I'll describe that, right? Say you want to get into the business of selling fashion accessories or something. Even before you manufacture them, even before you secure them, you can actually create a website and actually put those products out there to see the demand potential, right? Without much investment. It's going to cost you a chunk of change to buy a domain and build a website, and then the rest it's alive. And now you're doing what I call is real research and real testing of the market viability, right? And if you fail, this is the best way to fail. And if it succeeds, now you can really put more capital into it, right? So I think a lot of time we start thinking in a very over complex way to say, no, we have to buy these products, manufacture these products, and then we can sell. You can actually reverse engineer that and actually come out and put out these products even if you don't have them. It's called testing, it's called experimentation, and you get real user data.
Yeah. And then what happens? Okay, so say for example, I don't know. Okay, I'm gonna, let's be honest with you. My little side dream that I've never really fulfilled, other than just dabbling with it at home. You're gonna laugh. And I'm embarrassed. I don't get embarrassed, but this is embarrassing because it's very personal, right? So that's the other thing with your dream is it's that little fantasy thing that you think about in your head or on your own. That'd be nice because I love food so much, right? I've always wanted to do my own chutney, right? And I've got a name for it. It's this fun little name, but more so because the chutney represents me. I feel so silly talking about this. It represents me in the way that it's supposed to bring the party to the plate. It's supposed to liven things up. That's how I like to see myself if I'm hosting an event. And I'm not going to host it in a straight way. I'm not going to host it in a kind of very and the winner of these awards are, and we do things in a certain style, and I want my chutney to do the same. So it's kind of a combination of a few recipes that I've kind of heard and tasted and along throughout my life. I don't think it's available out. It's not available out there in the mainstream Western world, in my world particularly. But okay, let's say I reverse engineer that, right? Let me just pick your brains and let's make this personal. If I reverse engineer that and I kind of go, hey, everybody, I want to do this chutney. And I kind of put an image up or whatever. And then all of a sudden I get orders. What then? I'm going to go, oh no, I'm not ready to deliver. And warehouses and, where do I stock it and distribution? Because all that then quickly follows it. So the website's one factor, but you're part of the whole picture.
Yeah, I think so. The key is to obviously you have some hypothesis on how you will kind of create that chutney, right? And with what kind of vendors and all that stuff, right? So obviously you won't set up a website without having a theory in mind on where and how. But even if you get the demand before you're ready for a production, right? You now have an opportunity to actually work with you have real, I would say, interested customers, and they would be not in a rush to say give me tomorrow. You can actually now nurture that customer relationship and actually build your back end in whatever time you need to build, right? But versus had you built the back end before and you were doing this, it would be much more riskier, right? So I think obviously you build your plans that this is how I'm going to source it, this is how I'm going to build it. But the website is just, I would think of it in a modern age, not only to market, but actually do your testing before, right? As I call walk before you run. And so, and sometimes, the customers you may get may actually have some solutions for you, which you may not have thought about because you just had a concept. Now you've actually connected that concept to some real customers who have opened up your brain in a way you never thought about. And they may say, hey, what are you talking about? This chutney, like the 15 of these available. and you may be dead on arrival because in your own home you're thinking this is great, but in their kitchen there are 20 of them. Or on the other hand, it would be, oh my God, this is so unique and so kind of fun that let's do it together kind of stuff, right? So you may end up actually creating partnerships and get your model going a lot faster, right? So it's your path to discover a go-to-market model a lot faster than you would have normally done.
It's almost like it's dating before marriage. So rather than go straight into the wedding,
it's speed dating, and it is speed failing. So you get both.
Hey, it happens in love and business. I guess there's a lot of comparisons that can be drawn. And sport, okay, because we're gonna have Rakesh join us in a moment from the Bharat Army. We are here, all joined up together, GoDaddy, Bharat Army, and ourselves, myself, to look at what we were all getting geared up for an epic month of cricket where India saw to the final. We know, and I'm not going to make any excuses here. We know that India have been playing here for a while with the IPL. So all this talk of, oh, we haven't read the pitch right. Is that a valid excuse in your in your mind?
Listen, I think obviously it starts with your mindset, right? And like mindset of winning or losing the toss, you don't control, right? Mindset of how the pitch behaves, you don't control. What you control is showing up on that day and putting all the efforts with the right intensity. And I don't think we've been doing that, right? I think we've just been coming short of having that, I would say, typical intensity we are used to seeing with the Indian team, right? Look at the England tour, look at the Australian tour before. I mean, we used to seeing this team really, when they're against the wall, really turning things around, right? And here it's been just the reverse. And so, so the pitch or the toss, I don't think are the factors we can kind of take an excuse under. I think there's other things we got to look under the hood and see what can change from here.
Okay, so going a little bit further into that, what is under the hood? Because I'm there thinking, well, why haven't they got that hunger? Why isn't there that kind of desire? You can kind of, I'm sure you feel it as well in business. It's like horses. When horses come out to race, all of the people that are betting are looking at the horse as they just parade around, because they can tell by the way the horse is walking before it's even run, how it's looking, how its stride, how its strut is. And I don't know, we don't have that bounce, even when they're passing the ball to each other and they're warming up. And I was watching the New Zealanders and they're throwing it at each other. You can just sort of tell from the body language, is what I'm saying, what India are projecting and what other teams are projecting. We weren't projecting that. Rewind that back. Where's that come from? Why has that we talk about Virat Kohli, winning mentality, but why isn't that then punching through? Is it fatigue?
It's hard to tell from outside, but if I were to make my own guess here, I think part of it is definitely fatigue. I think we've been back to back, and maybe the bubble plays a role, but then so is for other teams. Now I don't know how Indian team stacks up in terms of the bubbles they have been in the last few months versus the other team. But the other also, I think, is maybe team selection, right? I mean, I think, Tommy, I feel like there are issues in team selection and how we're going about it, because I think maybe in some cases we're going on past merit where there are injuries to certain players, and maybe it's we don't need to kind of hold on to that for this tournament. And then also look at IPL, right? There were some solid performers. We don't see them on the team, and I think and so I think team selection it definitely is a problem, because I think it is like this team, the way it's being selected, if it doesn't fire off in a certain way, it's all or nothing, right? I think that seems to be the approach of this team composition. I think we need to have a different approach, because the toss is the toss, right? If you lose the toss, there's going to be a due factor later. You got to deal with it, right? And you got to be prepared for it, right?
Right. We were talking to Amal Malik not so long ago, and he was saying there's too many strong characters. You've got a fierce captain. You've now got Dhoni as this mentor role, Shastri as well. It's just there. It's, dare I say, it's almost like the team's kind of too strong. And I know this has weirdly happened with the England football side in the past. I remember them saying about the midfield where he had like Lampard, Gerrard, and various other, like, you almost don't need that many leaders. you know, you kind of just need one or two and a few kind of worker bees, as we put it, you know, like just to kind of follow a leader. Could that be a factor?
Yeah, I mean, think of the 2007 first T20 World Cup we won, right? I mean, there were no fierce characters. Like, there was this team full of hunger and really, you know, just going out, just playing cricket with their entire, you know, kind of, as if their life depended on it, right? And I think now there is just a lot of, I would say, this overhead of strong personalities and just maybe, you know, there's a dynamics, right? Ultimately, you know, you can be a superstar team, or you can be a, you know, team of superstars. And I think we seem to be a team of superstar, and we'd rather be a superstar team, I think.
That's a good line, actually. I think that's it. That's the quote of the day for me. And actually, talking about quotes, you quoting Winston Churchill, I read on your tweet, which actually is quite fitting. And was that? Well, firstly, I would like you to repeat your quote, and also, does it relate to the Indian team?
You know, it kind of does. So I think that the best way to, you know, say things is through quotes, and you know, I think I'll share another quote, right, which I think about the team, right? It's not how good you are, but how great you can be, and that's, you know, that is showing up in some of the other teams, right? Because, you know, you could be great on the last day, but, you know, today you're not good enough, right? And so I think on each day you have to play on its, like, as if it's your last day, right? And you see the other teams playing, and I just feel, you know, that you know, again, I go back to the teamwork, right? You got to be a superstar team, and that's what we got to really go after, and hope we turn around. But I think we need to take a hard look at just the way we are administrating the team, managing the team, and just the whole, you know, whole kind of 9 yards from there.
Okay, sorry, I want to hear your, because I liked your Winston Churchill tweet, even though some of the things he said in the past I think are questionable. But this tweet was a good one, and I'm just trying to, my Twitter isn't loaded right here, and I'm trying to get it up. But I don't know if you can, if you've got it there to hand, because I think this is a good one. Again, like you, I like quotes. I like, you know, there's often things that Muhammad Ali has said, like he talks about, you know, going to the gym. I sent it to a friend of mine this morning because I was in the gym and he was going to the gym, and I said, nobody wants to train, everybody wants to be champion. And, you know, and Muhammad Ali said, I hated every minute of training, but I loved every second of being a champion. And I think that's kind of this quote was a good one right now, I think, for the India squad and anyone really going through something hard right now. Nikhil, what was it?
Yeah, no. So I'll repeat my, you know, quote, right? As you wanted to hear it. So it's you know, it's Churchill quote, right? Success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts. In life, we soldier on day by day, right? So I think it's each day on its own merit. And I think, but you got to still fight on, right? You got to still, you know, you have to win many small battles, right, before you win the war. And I think cricket is small battles. And I think we've been failing all the small battles, right? First 3 overs, first 5 overs, first 10 overs. And, you know, when you add those up, you know, the war is sometimes lost before we even, you know, have started the game.
Exactly what you're saying, which is, and again, I want everyone to kind of relate this to their own life, which is failure is not fatal. And I'm guilty of feeling that sometimes in my life, that I feel like it has been like, oh no, that's it. That's that done with. That's that over. But actually, it's really not. It's that mentality. I'm relating to lots of things going to the gym now. When the Rock says, just show up, just keep going, just turn up. And it's the same thing with business, with everything. You meet entrepreneurs, you know, they fail 99 times, but that one thing they do is super successful. Everyone says Elon Musk has got, you know, hundreds, if not thousands of companies, but you only hear about that one that's making him the money, you know. So yeah, you just got to keep going.
Yeah, and I think also failure is the best school, right? It's the best grad school or undergrad school or any sort of education you'll get, right? Because you know, another quote, right? I mean, they say, you know, illiteracy is not defined by your ability to read or write, but your ability to learn, unlearn, and relearn, right? And that's all about failure, right? That you could, you know, if you are not able to take failure as a learning opportunity, that means 99% of the life you will be miserable, right? Because all of us, 99% of the time, failing in something or the other, right? And I think.
On that note, though, Nikhil, I think this is the problem with new generations and, you know, what they call the snowflake generation. I don't want to call them that because I think they're They're products of, our upbringing. We're the adults. I'm in my 40s. I've got kids. You've got kids. We're raising our kids as best we can to be, aware. We want to give them as much as we can. We want to progress from what our parents gave us and all that. But in doing so, sometimes they're not prepared for failure. They're not prepared for hardship. They're not prepared for obstacles or unfairness or, and completely undue unfairness. But you kind of want to go, look, that's all part of it. And particularly now for anybody, again, who's starting a business, who's going to start their domain, who's going to take that trip, they've got to accept you're going to get smacked down. And that is absolutely normal.
Yeah, I think it is something, I think our generation as parents are dealing with, right? Because like when I look at my parents, right, partition, the struggle, the 1947, everything was taken away. There was that, tenacity to there was a survival instinct, right? They need to survive. I think like for me, I was an immigrant back in the US and everything, I still went through that, right? Now to our kids, we are trying to make up for that and not to have them go through struggle, not to have them go through all this hardship. But on the other hand, sometimes I wonder, are we taking away this learning from them, right? Because if you don't know how to survive and you don't know how to struggle, I don't know how you'll succeed. And I think there is that element of throwing our kids out into some sort of uncomfortable territory, and we all hesitate to do that. And I still don't have a formula myself, but I feel like that's, whether you call the snowflake generation or whatever, I think we are partly responsible for that because we are trying to make up what we did not get without realizing that because we did not get that is how we were able to succeed in whatever way we are.
Yeah, I fully agree. But then I sort of think, again, my kids are 9 and 4, and I think about the future and I think, well, what's their world going to be like? And you're at the forefront of the technology side. Things are changing so much. Well, you're now hearing about Facebook changing its name to Meta and all this stuff. And you laugh. Okay, just on that note, how's that going down in the tech world, in the online world?
I believe that, all businesses start with a purpose, right? And you have to be missionary first and mercenary next, which means that, if you're a mercenary, you can never be a missionary. But if you're a missionary, you can still be a mercenary. That means if you start your business with a purpose, names matter, but names don't matter if you don't have a purpose and you don't have the right kind of, I would say, guiding principles. And platforms like Facebook and all are sitting on such a powerful position, right? That you are able to influence millions of kind of people around the world. And I think, that's where the thought process of what is the purpose you want to exist for comes in, right? Because I'm sure when Facebook started, they didn't think they will be that big and that, they'll be able to make so much influence in different parts of the world, right? And so I don't know, name change does a lot in my mind. To me, it's about, hey, do you change things which you need to change because the world's changing and because you are learning that your ability to influence, is far greater than what it is.
Brilliant. You're right. And the world is changing, and our world is changing online as well. We're going to get Rakesh joining us in just a moment from the Bharat Army. He's a man who doesn't need much introduction. All right, Raks, how's it going? Welcome to the Tommy Sandu podcast, Raks.
How are we doing?
Yeah, good. Where are you right now?
I'm in South London, in Wimbledon.
South London. Look, your accent's even changed now that you're back in London. It was a different kind of Dubai neutral Desi kind of twang, and now you've got I'm in South London, mate. Cold enough for you? Is it in South London? Because it's roasting here in Dubai.
It's absolutely free. Don't let the sun peering in to my room confuse you. Ooh. Right? It's absolutely freezing. I'm looking forward to getting on that plane tomorrow.
Oh, great stuff! Looking forward to having you back. But we were just talking. Actually, we were talking a bit about cricket, but more so about. We'll come back to the future and what the future holds and all that for not only for cricket, but also for the kids, for the new generation, man, is what we were just discussing before you got it. But we were discussing the team, what's going on. Just to rewind back, and for anybody who doesn't know, might be listening to this for the first time, who's going, what, Bharat Army? What, you're an army? No, okay, so Bharat Army, you're a fan group. We are a fan group, but you kicked things off like 20 odd years ago. and now it's kind of grown in terms of being more than that, being a kind of a place that you can buy your tickets and get to games and experience the kind of the excitement of being at a live cricket match with a group of people that will embrace you and you can dance with and sing with and eat with. And I'll tell you, when you're in England, they will feed you. So do not hang out with the Bharat Army unless you are hungry, thirsty, or requiring any of those, because man, those aunties will shove teplas in your mouth. Even you open your mouth to talk, bang, tepla goes in. That's how they do it. The lovely aunties of Harrow. So I miss you guys, but you've created this kind of you've created this wonderful world, I suppose, Raks, for yourself and for all the fans.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's been an amazing journey. I think we describe what we've created as a community, a global community. Who basically come together for a common purpose, right? Indians all over the world, they love their cricket. And what we've managed to do with the Bharat Army is create some, let's call it organised noise, right? So when we go to the stadium, rather than just that kind of sort of hectic kind of feel that you get, when you go to a cricket stadium, it's a little bit more organised with the Bharat Army, where people get to get a proper experience. And not just in the stadium, but also outside the stadium, in Dubai, we've got some things planned over the next few days, probably more than we had originally planned, with us not doing so well. But we've got some things planned together as a community, right? With Indian cricket fans coming into Dubai from all over the world, and we're going to do some stuff together as a shared community.
It's in a way now, this is where it really steps up for Bharat Army, because we are a fan group supporting Team India. This is where you need to. It's easy to support a winning side.
Yeah.
This is where you're required to really dig deep.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. I mean, look, I came back to London for a very short period of time. I'm now flying back to watch India play against Scotland, Namibia, right? And potentially there's nothing on that game, or those games, should I say. But it's really important that, we support the team through good times and bad. We've had some really good times recently. We haven't won that many trophies, but we've reached finals, we've reached semi-finals, we performed well as a team. We've had the highs of the England series recently, and you've got to support your team through good times and bad times, and one of our mottos is that we support our team win, lose or draw, right? And I guess as somebody who's driving the Bharat Army forward, I've got to be seen to be one of those individuals, one of those fans who support the team when they need us the most.
But it's hard, but pressure's on you, because everyone looks around at and they want to kind of, like say, might look around at Virat Kohli on the pitch, and the fans are going to look around to Rakesh on the stands and go, "What now, Raks?" And you got to go, you got to muster up the energy and the positivity yourself. And you and I have sat together many a time now. It's hard because you're just a bloke like anybody else, and you love your team like anybody else. And when they're losing, you lose in your heart as well.
Yeah. Listen, I think personally, you define yourself as a supporters group in these moments, right? I think these are the times when, you really do, you really are valued by, the players themselves and other fans. I remember at the end of the England series in Manchester, when the final test was called off, and I was sitting in the hotel room, sitting in the hotel lobby where the Indian team was staying. I was about to check out. I was on my phone with my head down, and Virat Kohli came and tapped me on the shoulder, and he said, "Look, Raks," he goes, "I just want to say you guys have been absolutely phenomenal throughout the series. Your support has meant so much to us and the squad, right?" And I think as a supporters group, how you support your team through good times and bad, that's what really defines you, right? As a fan club, that's what really defines you as a supporters club. So I think it's so important, right, that as much as we have a great time when we're winning, Tommy, right, we also got to try and have that same energy when we're not winning.
Yeah. Just bringing it to GoDaddy as well here in that respect. When you started and you thought, actually, let's make the Bharat Army a thing, rather than just a bunch of boys turning up, singing and chanting and formal organization. How did you decide that was the next step to take for it? Let's see if we've still got Rakesh. We might have lost him in the connect. Okay, we're going to reconnect him. But you can see what I'm saying as well. Raks reconnects. Nikhil, like these guys, there you go. This is a passion of theirs. Cricket was a passion. 20 odd years they're following it, and after the 2007 wins, they thought, actually, let's take that step. That's exactly what we want people to do with whatever they're thinking of right now with their ideas. And it's easier now with things like GoDaddy or online services.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's all about community, right? I mean, business, sports, fan clubs, it's all about community. And I think what Bharat Army has done is really build a borderless community for the same passion. And I think, and that's the power of technology today, right? And because to be able to, there's so many Bharat Army people around the world who probably may have never met, but they still, have the same common passion and purpose and, and really the desire to do that, the cheering for their team and being for the team. And that just shows an example of like how fast a community can grow exponentially without actually, being in those countries, right? But just through technology.
Yeah. Raks, I was just saying to you before it just cut out there, when did you decide this could be something? Let's take this on. Let's make it. I don't know. Do you have to go and get an IP and I don't know, whatever it is, and do all that kind of stuff as well? Because there's a business side to it, which is kind of what we're saying with the GoDaddy lot. Is people should formalize their passion, formalize their love, and if you're working for the love of your life, then you're never going to work a day in your life.
Yeah, I think for me, I guess the light bulb moment was when, at the India versus Pakistan match in 1999, when, we were a bunch of Indian cricket fans all separated in the stadium, right? All sitting in different parts of the stadium. And then when we came together as one, how powerful, that was. And more importantly, what the experience was like for everybody, right? And that's when I thought to myself, hang on a minute, if you can bottle that experience, right? And if you can replicate that all over the world, wherever Team India play, more and more people would want to be part of that, right? And at that point, there was no kind of commercial driver to that thinking. I wasn't thinking, hang on a minute, can I commercialize this? It was purely out the love of the game, right? Purely out the, how can we support our team better in a more organized way, where people who are like-minded, who share the same passion as I do and everybody else did, how can we do this in a more organized way, right? And then what's happened is it spiraled over a period of time where we're now at a point where we had to commercialize Bharat Army, right? Because when you're taking thousands of people around the world, you've got to do it in an organized way. Yeah, you've got to have the correct travel. You've got to be bonded. You can't book hotels, flights. Yourself, Tommy, right? How many hotels you stayed in Dubai, right? You've got to do it. Yeah. You've got to do it in an organized way, right? So that's where the commercial aspect came in, right? But for the first 10 years or so, there was no commercial angle to Bharat Army at all. It's purely out of the love of the game and the love of the country.
That's lovely. That's where I think where things should come from. Okay, so looking ahead then, last 3 games before we wrap up. What's going to happen here? Nikhil, first of all, let's go you right from what do we want to see? What needs to happen? What's the plan for India?
I think plan's pretty straightforward, right? We have to win by big margins because the run rate is going to come in play, and so not only just for winning with big margins, but to get the confidence back, right? I think we really need to go and like really play a one-sided game as if we're just there to win in 10 overs or 12 overs or whatever margin of runs, right? Because then at least, even if hopefully we make it, but even if we don't make it, at least we go on a high. We go with confidence that, we put in that energy into it. And then we have to obviously hope for some results going in our favor, with other teams, which we won't play.
Right. So Nikhil says, go in and smash them up. Is basically what he said, right? Let's go smash. And that's, I always say, I've got a phrase which is very Punjabi, which is kulla dulla. You got to play. I live my life kulla dulla, which is just open, like just go for it. I fearless, whatever. Let's deal with the consequences when come. But that's what I feel like I want to see. I want to see a freeness in the play, not a nervousness, not a head down. I want to go, look, man, don't worry. It's cricket. Enjoy it. Play your game. Raks, what do you want to see from India?
Listen, you can only control what you can control, right? I mean, India have put themselves in a situation where, like Nikhil said, they've got to win by big margins. So that's the first thing they've got to do. Make sure they win by big margins, right? So control your controllables, right? I'd like to see the team play a bit more fight, a bit more heart. I'd like them, to sort of walk off that field in that last game with pride, right? And if we don't qualify, no issue. Yeah, it's another tournament next year, right? So, but pride is the most important thing. And I think from a fan perspective, I would really like to see the fans get behind the team, right? They've given us some great times, the last few years. And like I said earlier on, this is when the fans really show their true value. And this is when the team needs us the most, right? So one thing that I'll guarantee is, all those Bharat Army members that are flying into Dubai over the next couple of days, I'm going to make sure that we're singing our hearts out for the team and we leave that stadium, with our voices, full in full energy, right? And that's the most important thing for me.
All right, let's do that then. Thank you so much, gents, for your time. Raks, pack your shorts and your swim trunks. Not the little small Speedo ones, Raks, not those again. Please, bring the shorts if you don't mind, all right? It's a family-friendly hotel. Nikhil, thank you for your time, as always. All the GoDaddy team for supporting us. Much appreciated. Until next time, catch you soon. Thanks, everyone. Cheers.
Thanks, guys.
I heard, genuinely, this is just as a fact, I heard that if you hit subscribe to this podcast now, if you have subscribed on Apple or on Spotify or on JioSaavn or wherever you are listening right now, if you are subscribing and getting that on a regular, which means you get the little notification when the new episode comes out, fact, this is a fact. Don't tell no one else's. If you hit subscribe, you can eat as many jalebis as you want and you will never put on weight. I know. I don't understand the logic. It makes no sense to me. I mean, how's a podcast relate to the DNA way in which your body breaks down jalebi sugar stuff running through your... I don't understand, but what I do know, it's a little cheat to life. So if you like jalebis, then you should hit subscribe to this podcast. Oh, and follow us on social media too. We're on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Follow us, eat jalebis, be happy.